Hello students, welcome back to IAS Universe channel. In this video, we will continue our discussion on the minimum support prices. In our previous video, we have discussed about what is MSP and when was it introduced and what are the crops that are covered under the minimum support prices. In this video, we will discuss about who announces MSP and who recommends. While recommending, what are the factors that are being taken into consideration and what are the different types of pricing mechanisms on which MSP is announced. So let's start, and before starting, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you have any doubts regarding any concept in economy, please comment and we will make a video on the topic. Thank you so much, and let us continue our discussion. The government of India, before sowing, that is in June for the Kharif crops, and in October, November, usually in October, announces the MSP for the Rabi crops. So, for Kharif crops, the government of India through Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare announces the MSP in June for Kharif crops, and for Rabi crops it announces the MSP in October. Government of India, before announcing, the cabinet committee gives an approval. Okay, the cabinet committee or the cabinet gives an approval for the government to announce MSP based on recommendations of whom? Based on the recommendations of the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. So CACP is a commission that considers various factors such as implicit factors, that is production of other, it involves a lot of factors we will discuss in detail, explicit factors and unpaid factors into consideration while calculating the MSP, and it gives recommendations to the government, and cabinet after making some discussions it recommends the prices to be announced to the government, and government through Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare announces the MSP. Okay, this is clear. Now there are three kinds of prices that are being taken, that is these factors are being categorized into three segments, that is A2, A2 plus FL and C2. The category A2 involves expenses that are paid in cash and in kind by the farmers, that is in order to give minimum support prices to the farmers, the government has to consider certain factors as we have mentioned earlier, that is implicit, explicit and unpaid. These factors, what are all the factors? We have been categorized under A2 as below, that is expenses that are paid in cash and in kind and seeds. What are all the input cost that a farmer incurs in farming? Seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, tractors. So in tractors I have to make clear that if a farmer buys a tractor in a year, suppose it might cost something like 10 lakhs. So all these 10 lakhs will not be considered by the government while calculating the MSP. You have to be very clear and careful. Let us in accounting practices there is a concept like depreciation. You might be reading the concept of depreciation under when you read about the other chapters of economy, for example GDP calculation, investment and the first basic topics. If you want me to make a video, please comment, we will make a video on that topic as well. And in this depreciation it will be 10%, so 10% of 10 lakhs is 1 lakh. So this 1 lakh of depreciation cost will be considered as a cost price or input price of mechanized equipment, that is tractors. So it is not the whole 10 lakhs which is the cost price, which is the price that a tractor has been bought, that cost will not be considered. Only the depreciation cost, which is segmented over a period of years. For example, 10% cost is depreciated over a period of 10 years. So next year another 1 lakh. So another next year another 1 lakh. So for tractors it will be a depreciation cost. And animal bullock carts, if a farmer incurs certain price on bullock carts, that cost also will be included. And labor cost, if a farmer hires certain laborers for harvesting, that labor cost will also be involved. And fuel for tractors, and irrigation cost, land rent, if some people don't have land and they might have taken a rent, that rent cost will also be included. But you have to get clarity about another thing, like here, if there are owners of a land who have their own land, that rent they might have foregone will not be included in this A2. Okay. And what about those farmers? We will cover that aspect also. So, and if a farmer hires certain kind of a labor, hired human labor, bullock, rent paid, and seeds, fertilizers, man use, irrigation charges, depreciation of the tractors we have mentioned. Also, if there are any farm buildings being made, and depreciation cost, if same like tractors. Okay. And interest on the working capital, you might be knowing about the Kisan credit cards. So they take credit cards. The farmers will get different kinds of credit using the Kisan credit cards, and the interest being paid is being considered, and electricity cost also, and miscellaneous expenses. So A2 will include all these prices. Okay. And another criteria is A2 plus FL. FL means imputed family labor. For example, you might be knowing that in our agricultural farms, family members also involved in the farming practice, but they are not being paid. So in A2 plus FL, along with the A2 prices, okay, the value of the imputed family labor is also being considered. And Government of India announces the MSP taking this A2 plus FL into consideration. You might have clarity now. So Government of India announces MSP taking into consideration the A2 plus FL cost. And what is the minimum price that government announces is, it is 50% plus A2 plus FL. Okay. If it is 100 rupees, the input price, the government announces minimum 50% on the top of this 100 rupees. That is being announced by the Ministry of Finance in the 2018-19 budget speech. Okay. But what is this A2FL? In another terms, it is also called as All India Weighted Average Cost of Production. All India Weighted Average Cost of Production. So what does it mean? It means the MSP is same all over India. So the MSP for a rice is same in Punjab and in Andhra Pradesh, in Tamil Nadu, in whichever the state it is. Okay. And there is another criteria, C2. C2 is nothing but A2 plus FL, means it includes the input cost of this A2 and this imputed family labor. Along with this, as I was telling, that the revenue foregone on owner's land, means if there is a farmer who has his own land, he doesn't need to pay rent. But in C2, that rent which he might have been received, if it was given for rent, that amount also will be considered. And also interest on the fixed capital assets. For example, there might be some certain farm implements. The farmer might have given it for rent, to might have given it to another farmer, he might be receiving interest. Okay, these are the economic terms. You need to have a clarity on this. And if you need any clarity of the what are all the factors of production, what are they called in economy, these are very important for GDP calculation, and also for reading the economic survey and understanding of economic survey. Okay, so if he has certain kind of a implements, though they are called fixed capital assets, and the interest foregone on such fixed capital assets is also being included. So C2 includes A2 and impeded family labor and certain other revenue foregone on the owner's land and fixed capital asset interest. So C2 is a comprehensive term, but the government of India announces the MSP only on the A2 plus FL, that is minimum 50%. Okay, and these A2 plus FL is being, I mean, these 50% is being recommended on the recommendations of the Swaminathan committee. Okay, the government has accepted the Swaminathan committee recommendations, but Swaminathan committee recommendations has recommended that take C2 into consideration, but government say that it will take A2 plus FL into consideration. On the top of that A2 plus FL, we will give the 50%. Okay, and along with this, there are other uh, fund also, like price stabilization fund, which is given for the procurement of the pulses and buffer, maintaining the buffer stock of pulses and other PM Asha. Okay, we will discuss all these topics in the next videos. And thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and like and share our videos to your friends and other fellow aspirants. Thank you so much.